Some anticipating that we're moving out, but it will be Krajicek to serve to open the fourth set. Here in the Ansett Australian Indoor Singles Final. Krajicek taking the first two sets. Becker bouncing back to take the third and serving now down love one. Becker hold serve. New balls are brought out. 1-1 in the fourth set. The match now has been in progress. We're just on 2 hours and 13 minutes.
Krajicek with a new fresh racket, and Krajicek, having lost the third set, has appeared unfazed, came back strong. First game of the fourth, and now with new balls also. That ball was moving around, it jumped up high. Boris is really committed to giving us a swipe, mistimed it, and just caught an edge. That return of Becker's, that blocked return coming over the ball slightly, dipping it at the incoming volleyer's feet. And just some luck for the Dutchman. That's the dead let cord. Fairly wide. Krajicek questioning the call. Rudy Berger very quick to assure him that the Paul was correct.
Sixth double fault for Krajicek now. Again, putting himself under real pressure. But as has been the case before, he's able to bounce back with a booming ace. That was 195 kilometres an hour, ace number 23. 24.
Boris doesn't like the call.
Is over, despite Boris standing there a moment. Will take up serve. At 1-2 in the fourth.
Aggressive backhand taken early off the second serve of Boris. Now scrambling that one back. 15 all. Extraordinary forehand from Krajicek on the full run, just flicking it back across court. Now it's Becker struggling on serve a little at 30 all. And again, Richard Krajicek scores with the backhand down the line. And the angle replay, the first ball sort of shanked up in the air. In fact, it was so high, Boris really couldn't get good purchase on it to penetrate enough down break point. Just can't believe it. He doesn't think he's done anything wrong. Excellent serving, a fine volley. And Barber is now concerned. Just a little bit too much room left down the line. And Krajicek has been deadly down the line, landing that ball right in the corner. And so Krajicek leading 2-1 and 3-1 with a service break.
And his serve as strong as ever.
Beautiful swinging serve. Look at that, nearly 2 metres inside the service line. That's the angle that's allowed when you're 6 feet 5, 1.96 metres.
26 aces to date for Richard Krajicek. 15 to Boris Becker. He holds serve and
full of confidence now. Becker didn't play a poor game to lose his serve, but he's in all sorts of trouble.
Thank you, Alan Stone. Courtside, as Krajicek just 2 games away from the title.
And Richard really looking dangerous all the time. Beautiful return of serve, the back end down the line again, setting up a lot of room for the cross court, which he finally scores with love 15.
Better service going for Boris Becker, but he still trails 2-4 in the 4th set.
He's running out of chances to break back, and probably it's a little easier to break back at this point than when Krajicek might be serving for the match. Boris continues to go for his shots. His only chance at success. Beautifully hit backhand, taken inside the baseline. Krajicek immediately under pressure. Love 15. Serve up wide. Beautiful sliding return. Becker had moved to his left. That ball a good metre inside the sideline. Thoroughly beating the German. 30-15. Now Boris talking to himself. There's 4 signs of getting upset. Beautiful Sydney Entertainment Centre. Becker to serve to stay in the match. Becker just tripping up a little bit there. Doesn't lose in a lot of finals. He has won 5 Grand Slam events, lost in 2 other finals. And he's on his way to forcing Krajicek to serve out the match. A very convincing game for Becker. Now leads 5-3. And now Richard Krajicek, 22 years of age, serving for his 3rd championship of the year. Starts with his 29th ace. Slider of just 160 Ks out wide. Been a successful serve for Richard in this final. Now Richard Krajicek just 2 points away from victory. Becker deep in thought. This is a must point. A neat total of 30 aces. Triple championship point. Magnificent effort from the 22-year-old Dutchman, winning in 4 sets. 7-6, 7-6, 3-6 and 6-3 against the triple Wimbledon champion Boris Becker. Played the final game without any signs of nervousness or trepidation at winning this major championship over one of the great players of our time, Boris Becker, who fought regardless of the score. He must have won a lot of admirers today, Boris. Down 2 sets to love. He continued to fight. He fought right up to the last point, but some 3 aces in the last game, which is how he started his semi-final match against Patrick Rafter yesterday. Just an awesome display of serving and all-court power play from Richard Krajicek. So we will return shortly with the presentation. It's interesting, one of the disputes during the week is over the rule changes. Make just 20 seconds between points. But there was a 4-set match in just 2 hours and 32 minutes. So there is the winner, Richard Krajicek. He would be a happy young man. He's had a very, very good season after injury towards the end of last year, beginning of this year. His first event wasn't until Barcelona in this European spring, which he won on clay. He won a couple of months later at Rosmalen in Holland on grass, and now he has won indoors on a hard surface against a very strong field, including Boris Becker. Now we'll go down for the presentation with Sandy Roberts.
Thank you, John Alexander. Ladies and gentlemen, before we meet our special guests, let's hear it once again for the players. What an outstanding final in the Ansett Australian Indoors. Sensational performance by Boris and particularly Richard. Our special guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you'll make them welcome after I introduce the four of them. The Honourable John Fay, the Premier of New South Wales, Mr Jeff Pollard, who's the President of Tennis Australia, Mr Gary Kingshott, who's the Sales Director of Ansett, who's been so marvellous with this tournament in the past week, and Mr Graham Lovett, who's done it all. He's the Tournament Director. Would you make them welcome? And before we meet the players and make the presentation, let us now welcome individually the President of Tennis Australia, Mr Jeff Pollard.
Thanks, Sandy. Mr Premier, distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen, I also would like to congratulate you, Richard, on a flawless display of tennis today, in fact throughout the whole week, and it's great to see your name added to what is already an illustrious list of winners of this Ansett Australian Indoor Championships. Congratulations. And to Boris, today mightn't have been the day, but Boris, of course, has won here twice before, been a finalist on 2 occasions, and been a great supporter of the Ansett Australian Indoor Championships. Boris, thanks for the support you give tennis all around the world. I'd probably be wrong if I didn't just put my Tennis Australia hat on for a second and say it's been a wonderful week for Australian tennis as well. To see 2 Australians in the semi-finals, I think for the first time since 1978. And we do think that our players are now going somewhere to the top. And we congratulate them on their performance this week. Their performance, of course, in New Zealand just a week or so ago in the Davis Cup. And I'm sure you'll see our players do a lot more in the coming year. But it's been a great tournament for Australian tennis. And then finally, on behalf of Tennis Australia, I would just like to express our appreciation to all those who've been involved in the Ansett Australian Indoor Championships. Graham, as Tournament Director, to you and Graham Clark, Wendy Lysett, all the members of your committee, to the staff and to the great sponsor, Ansett Australia. It's great to have a company like Ansett behind in supporting tennis. We certainly need sponsors, and the game wouldn't be as big as it is without those sponsors, and I want to particularly thank Ansett Australia.
Thank you very much, Mr Jeff Pollard. And now the Premier of New South Wales, the Honourable John Fay.
Thank you, Sandy. Jeff Pollard, President of Tennis Australia, Graham Lovett, Tournament Director and Promoter, to Gary Kingshott, Ansett, to the finalists who gave us a magnificent display today, and to you, ladies and gentlemen, I've thoroughly enjoyed what has been a game of the highest standard. I think most of us simply marvelled at some of the retrievals that occurred, not just simply scrambling, but passing shots that the eye could almost not keep up with. So we've thoroughly enjoyed a final that was as good as any final I would imagine in the long history of this tournament. And this tournament is one, of course, which is now very much enshrined in Australian tennis, and one which all of us here in Sydney very much appreciate. The fact that we can get the players of the calibre that we've seen this week, and at the same time see Australian tennis players match it with them as well as they have this week, is something that we in Sydney appreciate very much ever since tennis has gone for the Australian Open to Melbourne. I think one of the exciting things about the days ahead of us is that we're about to get, leading up to the Games, a new tennis centre outdoors, whilst this will always be a tournament that we will support and one which we must keep. The fact that we've got the Games means that we're going to get an outdoor venue that will be no doubt capable of attracting for outdoor competition the same calibre of players as we've seen this week. So my congratulations to both finalists. To Boris as runner-up, he tried extraordinarily hard, and we thought you were going to come back there and after that third set. But the temperament of Richard was such that he just managed to keep it together and play as good a tennis in that fourth set as he did at any time during the match. So congratulations to you on winning the Australian final on this occasion. Thank you very much.
And Mr Premier, I'll ask you to remain with us to make the presentation of the trophies. And first up, let us meet the runner-up. You have to have enormous fighting spirit if you win 3 Wimbledon titles. This man certainly has. Give him a warm Australian welcome back. Boris Becker. A wonderful performance. You've won it twice, this championship, Boris, and I think probably towards the end of the third set, people were maybe thinking, well, he did it in 1986, he did it in 90. Is it going to be another 4-year gap in 1994 again? But it wasn't to be.
Well, he had different plans today. I mean, my opponent, he just played incredible tennis throughout the match, and I really must take my hat off Richard. And he's aced him probably over 30 times, and I don't think anybody has ever done it against me.
I'll check with Richard, but I don't know that Richard's done it against anyone else before either. In fact, I think the final total was 31 aces. There's been a lot of talk, Boris, in the past 24 hours about whether you're going to come back for the Open. Can you enlighten us? Will we see you back?
Well, I guess I have to talk with a few people about what I said yesterday afternoon, but in general, I love playing in Australia, and I won the Australian Open 91, which was a very, very important moment in my tennis career. I reached #1 there, so I hope I can come back, but you know, a few things have to be worked out before.
We certainly look forward to seeing you back here. And I know the audience tells the story. You're a travelling family now. Has that changed Boris Becker's life very much? You seem very, very much at ease and enjoying your tennis.
Well, it changed in a way that instead of having 3 bags, I have about 13 bags traveling with me. And in an airplane, I need all the time, 6, 7 seats now, and I have to get to the final every week just to afford it now. But you know, they've been great all the time to me.
Well, you're always welcome here. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for our runner-up, Boris Becker. Thank you, Boris. A much-deserved standing ovation, and I'm sure you'll give our winner a similar response. Richard Krajicek, our champion. "31 aces" was the final tally as he takes the trophies from the Premier, Mr. John Fay. You might need a couple of seats on the plane going back for these, mightn't you?
Yeah. Maybe Boris can borrow me a seat or something.
Well, 31 aces. What an incredible performance. Have you had that sort of rhythm going for you before? It was just sensational to watch. Boris obviously didn't like it, but we did.
Well, I enjoyed it a lot also, and I don't think I've ever hit over 30 aces, so I'm very happy with it, and I'm happy that Boris was the first one to experience it from my...
It's been a wonderful comeback because you missed almost 5 months towards the end of last year and the start of this year with injury problems, then came straight out and won, and this is your 3rd victory for the year.
Yeah, beginning of November last year, I took 5 months off, and yeah, since I came back, I've had some very good weeks, and this is one of them, and I'm very happy with my performance and with the way I feel.
And you're very happy, obviously, to come out to Australia.
Yeah, it's great tournament, Sunday. I'm going to say, this week I really enjoyed it, and actually I always like coming to Australia. I always come very early it's great weather, and the people are always very nice to me.
We have a bit of a tradition here. I'm going to clear away from this court before we do this, but you also receive a jerry bomb of champagne, and you can do and prepare your celebrations as you will. But we say congratulations to you. Let's hear it once again, ladies and gentlemen, the champion of the Ansett Australian Indoor Tennis Championship. Our television audience will take a break. We've got the doubles coming up, and we'll let Richard Krajicek celebrate. Thank you, Krajicek, his 3rd win for the year, and Boris Becker also in the end joining in great sporting fashion. Wonderful performance by Richard Krajicek. 31 aces, as he said. He's never done it before, and poor old Boris was on the end of it today. Well, this was one of the highlights of 7 Summer of Tennis. Another, of course, is the Ford Australian Open.